Hey folks, welcome to Lumibricks, and yes, I know this is not Lego. These are the Lumibricks, formerly known as Funhole Neon City Cyberpunk sets. This is the apartment here, and this is Izakaya. I have them in an alternative layout. Put a photo here, see how you can see what they look like when they're side by side and lit up and whatnot. But I really liked the way that these look. The apartments came out in November or November-ish of 2024. And it's a theme that I've really been interested in ever since I saw the new Hashima massive MOC that came out of Brickworld Chicago 2023 and earlier iterations. And it's something I really wanted to try. So that said, when these were released, I'd never really built alternative brick brands before, but I had to give it a shot, so I dove on in. And I highly recommend these. They're fantastic builds. Now today what I want to do is build something to fill in this kind of awkward L shape. Using official Lego parts, specifically plates and tiles, I have filled in this awkward spot using light bluish gray parts so that it ties all together with the Izakaya set, as well as the apartments. Moving on, I want to take this 16 by 32 base plate and I want to build my first skyscraper. So I'm going to build a cyberpunk-inspired skyscraper tower. So let's get started. The inspiration for this build is based off of the Lego Vidiyo Beat box cubes. I ended up with a bunch of these because I like the minifigures, but what do you do with this thing? Like, how do you use it? And that's why I wanted to challenge myself to do was I've been thinking about for a long time is how do I use this in a build? So when thinking about the skyscraper, I was like, okay, I'm going to use these as little kind of as room blocks. But my first challenge is to figure out a way to secure this and then kind of square it up so I can integrate it into a wall. Okay, so let's get a base to work off of. And the first issue is this curve. And I looked at a bunch of different slopes and curved slopes, and what I found is this one, put the part number up here, the slope or the curve actually matches the curvature of the cube really well. So I'm gonna put a plate down there, or sorry, tile down there, and then two of these, and that perfectly matches the shape of the cube. So that's basically that is the basis of how I'm going to construct my walls. So now we just got to figure out how to attach this securely to this. Okay, so now we're just coming up the sides here. And then, so that gives me about to halfway, and all I'm gonna do is flip it around to build the same thing, and that'll get me up and around both sides. Now I did something similar to this with the drugstore build. Take a look in the picture here for that contact C pill shaped window. But so in order to get these connected, we're going to use some bars. So this is basically not really structural, it's mainly just to fill in around the shape, see? And then we're just going to slide that in. that fills in that, and then to start building up around, we're going to add some plates, and this is what we'll start adding some more structure and rigidity to the wall. Firstly though, we're going to use some brackets here to get this cube secured to the plate. This, and that you can slide in, and that is going to secure our cube. All right, now I got to do that 3 more times. Now let's start on the floor base, and each floor is going to have an asymmetrical floor plan. So that is going to be the shape of each floor. Then I'm going to lock all these in. So that is the shape of each floor. I'm going to add some more. We'll add our walls in, our first wall in, and come right back. All right, before we get too far, I did add an extra layer of plate, and I have to add in some tiles here. Let's make sure I get these in the right locations. And this just to round things off, and has to do with the placement of the walls. Cool. And then we can start to add in our structure here. Nice thing about these is it doesn't matter which way they go, up or down, because they're exactly the same. And then there we go, and then that just slides right in there. All right, let me get the other 3 on. All right, so there's the wall structures to hold each of the pods. Now we need to fill in wall sections here and here, and then something in between here. As you can see, kind of the way I've designed this and built it was, it's like it's no like smaller micro builds that come together to form the bigger unit. So let's start on the next part. In case you're wondering, yes, I have a mock-up that I did build to try to work out all of the intricacies, as well as I use Studio, but then sometimes things don't work necessarily in Studio that work in real life. So there's my rainbow brick mock-up of each floor. So the next challenge I gave myself is how to fill in this corner, and I was looking on Lego Bricks and Pieces, trying to find some interesting things, and I found these little short 8-long roller coaster tracks, and I thought those would make a really interesting architectural detail. So I figured I could put it on an angle there. The issue now is how to get that to stay. And this is what I've come up with. So here's all the parts I need to build this wall section. And let me see if I remember how to do this. This part's actually pretty important because you need that middle anti-stud. And then the rounds act as feet and spacers. Oop. So if I put it on the right way. I'm not sure if this is an illegal build or technique, but it works. So, I mean, I don't think there's any real stress there. The parts do fit together, so, and then we just gotta make sure those are lined up. There you go. And that's how to get the roller coaster track on an angle. All right, let's fill in these other corners. This part's really simple, and it's just some of these facet bricks with corner panel, and topped off with one of these plates, and then that just fits right there. Time to add a plate layer and a tile layer. Lock this in. So there's the floor. Now, when you build things in Studio, sometimes you don't realize there's some instabilities. And when I built this for the first time now in real life, because the mock-up that I had done, I had actually added in all the plate and tile layers. What I didn't realize is this end wall is really loose. It doesn't actually lock in. And what I have corner plates here, not realizing that if I actually remove these two cylinders, add in one plate, 1x1 plate and 1x2 plate, and I have to modify this one here, this corner, to add in a 2x2 plate. I can actually lock in all this wall, and that's what I've done over here. And so you can see that's all nice and locked in and solidified. So I'm going to fix that, and then we're going to get the cubes in place. So you can see that's all nice and locked in. The other thing I had done when I did this in Studios, I had put a round 2x2 jumper with the one stud in the middle, and that actually, spacing wise, the jumper was in the wrong spot, so I just switched it out with a 1x2 jumper, and that locks in that, and that solidifies that floor. Now these are still just kind of loose because it's just basically in there to fill the gap, but then what we can do is add in our cubes, and those just there is one floor. I'll probably do some kind of elevator shaft in the middle. Oh, let me fix those tiles. Okay, now the floor's done. And then these I'll use as attachments for when the next floor sits on top. And like I said, I will add in probably an elevator shaft, but I'm not gonna do a whole lot in the interior because honestly, you're never gonna see it. And I'm going to, my plan is then to use the room blocks here. I will build out in each cube some kind of interior, which will just be limited to that clear block part area. So I will start building the other 4 floors, and then we're also going to have to do a lobby area and the ground floor. So stay tuned. I'm going to leave it there for this week. If you want to come by and watch me build this live, stop by my Twitch and YouTube live streams on Tuesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern. Come hang out, we can chat, have a lot of fun. As always, thanks everyone for watching my videos. Really appreciate it. Hope you come back. Don't forget to drop a like, Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you next time. Thanks all. Take care.